So let's start to discuss about the basic performance parameter in which this will indicating the schematic diagram of the piston cylinder assembly, in which the piston is continuously reciprocating in prescribed dimension, that is in between the top and bottom, that is called as the top dead center and bottom dead center. The length will actually referred as the stroke length. This is the dimension, this is the diameter called as a bore diameter of piston, inlet and outlet valve, inlet and exhaust valve. Now this reciprocating motion will convert into rotary motion by mean of cranking mechanism, right? Now this is how it is look like the general internal combustion engine. Now once you identified internal combustion engine with given stroke length and given dimension of bore, definitely that size of engine will produce power called as a indicated power, and that indicated power is always given by this expression called as a pressure length, that is the stroke length, cross sectional area into revolution, PLAN by 60, that is in watt. If it is a 60,000, that is in kilowatt. Now this P stands for mean effective pressure. In the later stage, we discuss about what actually mean effective pressure. L is stroke length between the top dead center and bottom dead center. The length is referred as a stroke length. Cross sectional area can determine by mean of bore diameter. This N is the revolution. If it is a 4-stroke, definitely we should use N by 2, that is prescribed. And if it is a 2-stroke engine, then simply the N we should use in this expression. The reason behind that is what actually there is a difference between 2-stroke and 4-stroke engine is 2-stroke engine can generate power in each rotation of each RPM, while the 4-stroke engine is actually generating power. Power stroke will be after two revolution of cycle. So that is what actually reason we are actually dividing in the 4-stroke we divide with 2. So after see within the 4-stroke we are actually having a one power cycle in the 4-stroke engine. That's why it is divided by mean of 2. Now this is what actually ideal when we make a when once we decide the stroke length and diameter and then the RPM, definitely that engine will generate this much of power. But that power is actually represent the power produced by mean of engine. But we are not interested in that power. We are generally interested in what is the available power at the shaft. Actually, that shaft is ultimately connected with the wheel or the motion through which we can actually get the forward velocity. So that shaft motion is ultimately transferred through this cranking mechanism. That reciprocating motion will transfer into the rotary motion by mean of crankshaft. So that is there we are actually interested on, and that power available at the shaft is referred as a brake power or brake horsepower. So shaft, it is general. The power associated with rotating shaft is given by 2 pi N T by 60, where actually T is the torque. Torque is obviously, see this when the shaft will rotate, obviously it will experience the opposite resistance force due to the rolling resistance or the vehicle load, and because of that opposite resistance experienced by that shaft, it will resistance multiplication with the radius will give you torque, opposite torque to this shaft. So that is the torque actually which we need to overcome. This is the N is tends for RPM of the shaft, and obviously 2 pi is the constant. This is one way through which we can actually find out the brake horsepower general equation. Now specifically for the engine, we can also derive the brake power by mean of this equation, in which this is the previous equation PLAN by 60, where P, now this P is brake mean effective pressure. Previously it was mean effective pressure. In the later stage, I will elaborately define you what is the difference between mean effective pressure and brake mean effective pressure. So from that equation also we can actually get the idea about brake power. Let's move. You look in this diagram. See, in the power stroke, initially pressure is actually increasing, then it will go down. So this is what actually shown over here. Initially pressure is increasing and then it is slow down. This is actually represent actual pressure, and the mean of this value will represent the brake mean effective pressure. The mean value of this is actually referred as a brake mean effective pressure. So mean effective pressure is always calculated based on ideal cycle, while the brake mean effective pressure is always calculated based on actual cycle. So that is what difference between that two pressure. Once, because there is a distinct difference between ideal and actual cycle, definitely that is because of certain losses it will happen. Certain losses, that is generally friction losses and other losses. So because of that losses, let's talk the parameter called as efficiency. In the IC engine, there is a two different efficiency. We can talk about thermal efficiency and mechanical efficiency. Thermal efficiency relate the thermal transformation of energy. Initially in the engine, definitely the energy, main energy source is fuel. Through the fuel, we are actually supplying the energy. In terms of fuel, we are supplying energy to the engine where the combustion will take place and heat energy will released. By the using of heat energy, piston will move up and down, and that up and down motion will ultimately converted into rotary motion, which is actually mechanical work. So how it will, the conversion of the energy is like that. If we are having total amount of this much energy in terms of chemical energy, only partial will convert into indicated power, and after considering the friction loss, the partial will convert into the brake power. So based on that thermal scenario, if we define the thermal efficiency, then thermal efficiency is generally output by input. So what is our input is? Input is our chemical energy in terms of fuel. So mass flow rate of fuel into calorific value give you input energy. And what is the output? Output may be in terms of brake power or maybe in terms of indicated power. So based on that, we can identify the either brake thermal efficiency or either indicated thermal efficiency. Indicated thermal efficiency in which output is indicated power, while in the case of brake thermal efficiency, output is in brake power. So this is what actually the efficiency based on thermal calculation, the energy how converted in terms of combustion scenario. Now see, in between indicated power and brake power, there is a loss called as a friction loss. If we consider the friction loss, and then if we define the efficiency, that is referred as a mechanical efficiency. Between the indicated power and brake power, I mentioned that this piston will move up and down, reciprocating motion will transfer in the rotary motion by means of connecting rod. So in between that connecting rod, there is a loss of friction. And one is when you are considering the mechanical efficiency, now this is the output and this is the input. Output is in terms of shaft power, and what is the input? Definitely that is the reciprocating motion of the piston. So this is my input. It is generally referred as indicated power, and output is in terms of brake power. So based on that, whatever efficiencies we derived, that is called as a mechanical efficiency. And generally the overall efficiency, we can multiply thermal efficiency into mechanical efficiency will give you overall efficiency of the engine, of the IC engine. The product of thermal and mechanical efficiency will give you the overall efficiency of engine. But still, I want to mention here that this is the rough estimation of engine. See, this efficiency calculated by means of this equation is only rough estimation. Now a few more parameter which will actually affect the performance of engine. One of the parameter is called as a volumetric efficiency. What volumetric efficiency? Let's look into this diagram. The definition is something like that. Volumetric efficiency. See, this is what actually the available volume. Let's say this is the available volume. The area into length will give you theoretical volume called as a swapped volume, right? Now during the suction stroke, it is not possible to fill this entire passage or entire volume with the air or air fuel mixture, because it's a very rapid process. See, the suction and compression, we are actually talking about suction. So suction, during the suction stroke, it will finish within the microsecond. So within that microsecond, the fulfillment of 100% fulfillment of this passage or this volume is quite impossible. So only some amount of charge will actually introduced inside this cylinder. Still certain volume will empty. So that is what actually, this is the total volume available, and this is what actually volume you drawn charge through the during the suction stroke. So that ratio is important. Like in the simple word, see, generally if we talked about the figure, only see all engine having volumetric efficiency in the range of 80% to 90%. Where this volumetric efficiency reflected in, let's say you all are using your bikes. So generally we always look into the cc, cubic centimeter. See, 100 cc bike, 150 cc bike, or now it is trend to run a 200 cc bike, let's say. So see, 200 cc bike, 200 cc indicating the volume, the size of that cylinder. 200 cc is the size of that cylinder. But actually, what is the volumetric efficiency will decide how much size will utilize during the operation. If your bike will have a 80% of volumetric efficiency, that means if it is a 200 cc of bike, but you actually utilize only 160 cc of bike only. So see, that is what actually, see, 20% loss. Now how that volumetric efficiency is behaving, see, if it is a petrol engine, so initially when the engine speed is very low, at that time the volumetric efficiency is good, because at that time when the engine speed is low, obviously piston will move, it will move slowly. So at that time there will be a sufficient time for valve opening and closing, during which the amount of charge can enter during that, due to that sufficient amount of time. Now when engine is rotating with very high RPM, definitely the opening of valve is very for short period of time. So within that short period of time, to supply more amount of air is quite difficult. See that this valve timing will set based on the RPM. So when the RPM is lower, definitely the valve timing, the opening time of valve will be much more larger. So because of that, the sufficient amount of air can be entered and filled this portion. But when you run at a high RPM, definitely the time which will reduced, the opening time of that valve will be reduced, and because of that this air will not get sufficient time to fill this passage or cavity. So obviously if it is not getting sufficient time, so only small amount of charge will able to enter inside this passage, and because of that the remaining portion will empty, which will lead to lower down the volumetric efficiency. Now this is the case in the petrol engine with the high RPM. Definitely the petrol engine will give will have a poor volumetric efficiency. However, in the diesel engine, volumetric efficiency is not altered that much with respect to engine speed. The reason behind that is, see, the charge, the mechanism of the charge to suck the charge is very different. In the petrol engine, the charge is when we refer as a charge, so it is a mixture of petrol and air. But when it is the case of diesel, it is only air. So air can easily enter within, even though if it is a higher RPM and small amount of time, opening time of the valve opening time is very small. Even though air is lighter, have a smaller weight, then because of that it can able to enter quickly inside this passage. So generally fuel will injected separately in the case of diesel engine. So in that case, volumetric efficiency in the diesel engine is almost constant, but it is the severe case in the petrol engine. So one should fix the volumetric efficiency. How can you fix the volumetric efficiency? So you have to work on the inlet and exhaust port system. See, you have to carefully design inlet and outlet valve. Based on that valve profile, actually the how smoothly the air will enter and leaving from the engine is decided by mean of valve profile. So you have to provide sufficient smoothness so that the air can actually enter rapidly and smoothly inside the cylinder. If it is experience little bit friction resistance, then definitely you will end it with poor volumetric efficiency. It is obvious that higher the volumetric efficiency will give you more amount of power, right? Even though by providing precise valve timing, you can increase the volumetric efficiency. Obviously, by providing variable valve timing, we can improve the volumetric efficiency. What other? We can also providing additional turbocharger, which will compress the air and then it will supply to the engine. So that compressed air having a nature to rush into this cylinder easily. So by providing turbocharger, you can improve the volumetric efficiency. So this is what actually volumetric efficiency. Now this already I discussed this mean effective pressure. But let's repeat, mean effective pressure is actually the average pressure of entire cycle. See, if it is auto cycle or diesel cycle, during that cycle, during the stroke, the cycle will came through various pressure values. Like if it is it will suck the atmospheric pressure air, then compressed it inside the cylinder, then it will expand. So during the compression, the pressure will change. During the expansion, pressure will change. So throughout the cycle, we are having different values of pressure from atmospheric pressure to maximum pressure. So when we find out the average of this pressure value, will refer as a mean effective pressure of that cycle. Now this mean effective pressure, if it is based on actual cycle, definitely that is referred as a break mean effective pressure. If it is based on ideal cycle, then it is referred as a only mean effective pressure. But mean effective pressure is obviously key parameter because why? Because obviously, see, even indicated pressure or indicated power or brake power, both are directly proportional to this mean effective pressure. So higher the pressure will give you higher the power output, and that is the reason the diesel car always having a higher power output for the similar size of the engine. If you compare the 100 cc of petrol engine and diesel engine, definitely the diesel engine the brake power output will indicating the higher value. That is because the operating pressure in the diesel engine is almost double. So that's why the diesel engine is producing more amount of brake power. One more thing I want to highlight you. See, it is our general mindset that the higher CC, the more CC will give you more power output. But see, instead of looking simply CC, see CC indicating the size of the engine. That size is ultimately, this is the size of the engine, right? This L into A give you volume. That means the cubic centimeter CC. So it is theoretical estimation of engine. See, 200 cc or a 100 cc bike is the simple theoretical sense of power output. But instead of that, you should compare the brake power output. And nowadays, actually, instead of cc, automobile people are actually indicating the brake power, as well as they are actually also indicating the torque, how much torque they are generating. See, torque is an essential parameter, because if it is a higher torque, if one engine is able to produce higher amount of torque at that RPM, then definitely it will give you the higher amount of brake power. So instead of looking simple cubic centimeter or cc, the more appropriate way to look powerful engine is the brake power and torque, how much torque that engine will produce. that obviously higher torque can be possible by mean of higher mean effective pressure. Now few more small parameter like specific fuel consumption. Definitely specific fuel consumption is how much fuel it will consume to produce power, to produce 1 unit of power. If it is a indicated power, definitely referred as a specific fuel consumption. And if it is a brake power, then it is referred as a brake specific fuel consumption. And this is more important for us. This is theoretical, but actually we are interested in brake power. So this brake specific fuel consumption will give you idea about how much fuel it will require, how much fuel it will consume to produce 1 kilowatt of brake power. So see, this is directly indicating the, see, instead of see, this we can say is a mileage. Some engine will give some mileage, some engine will give different mileage. So that mileage is reflected in terms of brake specific fuel consumption. Technically, it is a BSFC. Graph carefully. This is the graph generated with the help of testing. They tested one particular engine for different speed and measured the specific fuel consumption. So at very low speed, that means when you run your vehicle with very low speed, definitely your fuel economy or specific fuel consumption is little bit larger than when you run your vehicle with little bit larger speed. So there is a particular point of speed, vehicle speed, at which your fuel economy will be maximum or your specific fuel consumption will be least. And then definitely when you run your vehicle with higher speed, that means with larger velocity, larger speed, definitely fuel economy will drop down. Your specific fuel consumption is continuously increasing. Why this has happened? See, when you run your vehicle with very low speed, at the low speed, definitely the small amount of fuel is injected, and that small amount of fuel is not able to overcome the minimum amount of friction. See, once you decide the size of the engine, there must be a minimum amount of friction is exist. So at the lower speed, you are not able to generate sufficient energy to overcome that friction. That's why you require more amount of fuel. So that is the reason at the lower speed, lower vehicle velocity, it consumes more amount of fuel. So mileage is suffered. But at certain speed range, it will overcome and your mileage will improve, specific fuel consumption will decrease. However, when the engine will run with very high RPM, definitely due to friction, there is a huge heat will be generated. When the speed RPM will increasing, the speed of the piston will increasing inside the cylinder, which will create a huge friction. And to overcome that friction and to provide a cooling, definitely you should supply more amount of coolant, and it is ultimately landed with the heat loss. So ultimately we are actually suffering with the huge amount of heat loss, and ultimately it will reduce our fuel economy. So this is how the fuel economy will behave with respect to RPM. So how much amount of fuel you are supplying for particular amount of air is referred as the air fuel ratio. Now, rather than air fuel ratio, this is more important parameter called as the equivalence ratio. Equivalence ratio. What equivalence ratio is actually? See, in the ideal condition, what happen actually? See, air, fuel, and the desired temperature. When this triangle will complete, then combustion will start. And to fulfill this triangle, or to make sure the complete combustion, this triangle must be justified. What this triangle is? Fixed amount of fuel, sufficient amount of air, and the necessity temperature. Once this three condition will arise perfectly, in this case the perfect combustion will happen. Perfect combustion, that means all amount of fuel will burn, take part into combustion, and then it will release the heat, which in the later stage we can utilize for the mechanical power. But in the actual case, it is quite difficult to monitor that air which we will supplied for fixed amount of fuel. See, with the help of chemistry, we can identify what actually air fuel ratio should be for one particular fuel. Let's say let's say for the petrol, the air fuel ratio is in the range of 15:1. That means 15 mole of air and 1 mole of petrol is sufficient for the combustion. So that is referred as a stoichiometric air fuel ratio. But when the engine is operating, it is never possible to justify or to fulfill that requirement. So always either we are supplying excessive amount of air or either we are supplying excessive amount of fuel. It is because of physical limitations of engine. So actually there is always different air fuel ratio with which the engine is operating. So this is what we have to consider. Theoretically it is okay, but actually how much air fuel ratio with which the engine is actually functioning, that is more important. So for that you need to calculate what is the amount of air is actually supplied and what is the amount of fuel is supplied to our engine, and based on that we can actually calculate our equivalence ratio. So this is very important parameter for the engine performance and the combustion performance. That is what actually I said, that when we wish to talk about the detailed parameters, so in that case this equivalence ratio is much more important. When the equivalence ratio is less than 1, definitely we refer as a lean mixture. That means lean mixture means the excessive air we are supplying ultimately. Because of excessive air actually it is referred as a lean mixture. And if it is a greater than 1, definitely it is a rich mixture. Rich mixture stands for we are supplying excessive amount of fuel. Ideally it must be in the range of 1, but it is not practically possible. But with the help of this equivalence ratio, we can have idea about whether we are supplying excessive fuel or whether we are supplying excessive air. Based on that, we can actually shuffle the amount of air or amount of fuel during the operation. See, if you look carefully, the mileage, the volumetric efficiency is okay, but this is also one of the parameter called as equivalence ratio. See, before 10 years or before 5 years, the mileage of 1000 cc car is in the range of 15 kilometer per liter. I remember that before 10 years only 15 kilometer they claim. But now if I look the recent engine or recent vehicle in the range of 1000 cc, they claiming up to 25 kilometer per liter. So see how much improvement in the combustion. So that is possible because there are various advancement happen in the IC engine. One of the advancement is the automation of fuel injection system. Priorly, I mentioned that the fuel injection is governed by mean of mechanical component. So based on speed, the fuel injection is decided. But now it is finely controlled by control unit. So that control unit is actually sense the amount of oxygen level in the exhaust gas. Then they decide whether we are emitting more amount of oxygen. That means we are actually supplying more amount of air. So in that case, that processor will decide to decrease the inflow of air, and by decreasing the inflow of air, they try to maintain the ideal air fuel ratio. And because of that, the most vehicle nowadays they are having a equivalence ratio very near to 1. And because when it is very near to 1, we are having a perfect combustion. So this is what actually technology development will happen. Very quickly, this is what actually specific weight, specific volume, and specific power. See, specific, it is a simple definition. Specific weight is obviously for 1 unit of power, what is the total weight of vehicle. Specific volume is obviously for 1 unit of brake power, what is the cc, what is the volume is required. And specific power is obviously this must be reciprocal actually. For 1 unit of power, what is the area of piston is required. So this is a small definition. So let's stop at this point of time. Next time we will continue with this topic only and explore more detailed parameter in the regarding of performance parameter and solve certain numericals based on that. Okay, thank you very much to all.
Thank you, sir.